Hey guys, MCOGAMER27. Today we got a treat. I've been wanting this game since they came out, but I said, I wonder if it go on sale on Black Friday. This game came out about 2 weeks ago. I said, I don't know what day, and they did. I only saved $10, but $10 is $10. Today is Black Friday, November 25th, 2022. As of this day of recording, you could get this game for $29.99. And this game will eventually go down to $20, of course. But it's the latest and greatest. Now, as you guys know, I did a very emotional video how I started gaming with consoles. My dad, I was 9 years old. Remember, I'm 50 years old. I was 9. The Atari 2600, the Vader edition. My father got it for me for one Christmas. And Atari is my foundation of consoles, of course. So now there's a lot of collections of these games from the Xbox, PS2. I own all of them. But this one is special. This one, it has ravings reviews. Mad Little Pixel, Retro Bit, Retro Ralph. Everybody is raving about this game. John Hancock, Metal Jesus Rocks, because those guys are a little older than me, but we're in the same age group, same generation of gaming. And they love Atari like I do, because that's where we started. So the reason why I'm talking so much, because this is going to be a long one. And I hope you guys really enjoy this, because reason being, this is not only a lot of the Atari and their arcade games, but it is the interactive museum. Yes. And they did a lot of great videos. Digital Foundry did a video on this a couple of days ago. And I have a lot of respect for that website. And I mean, I got respect for anybody that I trust over the years watching them. But even John, the guy that said it, he said this is the way a 50-year anniversary should be done. And they had some of the developers on the show. I'm gonna link that video in the subscription of this video. In the bottom of this video, I'm gonna put it in the I'm gonna put the link so you guys could watch that from Digital Foundry, and plus 2 other real life viewers that I respect a lot, so you guys could see this. Now, when I first loaded it up, I think it was a 500 megabyte patch, and I wanted to share this experience with you from the beginning, guys. And I want to do everything, so this is going to be a long one. I hope you guys are here for the ride. All right, so what are we going to do first? Let's do this together. Okay, so birth of consoles. Oh my God. The arcade comes home today. 90% of American homes, at least one computer that have changed their lives forever. For millions, the first computer their homes was the Atari video computer system. Dedicated consoles. So guys, so you guys could read along as well. I'm not gonna read out loud because I know sometimes that bothers people. So you could read it with me. Give you guys time to read as well. Okay. See, I got my Atari in 1979 because it was launched in September 1977. Atari launched a video computer system. Later that, So that's the original color, the brownish black. Then 2 years later, I was 9, and my father got me the Vader's edition because Darth Vader. That was when that movie came out, and they built a Vader edition. It was all jet black, and I remember my father got me that when I was 9. It was part of the consoles. It was $200. Wow, that's crazy. To $199 when it launched. It was way cheaper when my father bought it. I think it was like $100 when, like in 1979, when my father got mine, the Vader edition. Combat, yeah, I remember, guys. Combat was the one, the game that it brung. It always brung Combat. It was 2 little tanks and squares. That's the way it was. That is amazing. Air Sea Battle. I never owned that one, but my friend had this one. I never played that one, to be honest with you. Surround. From the arcade to home. These popular arcade games that could be a big hit. See, what it was that at the time, arcade had the best graphics. So consoles came out, the Atari, and they were trying to like simulate the arcade games. So Donkey Kong came out for it, but they were all squares. But at least you had the same gameplay, so that was cool. This I had, guys. I did own this one. Tic-Tac-Toe. That was pretty cool, guys. Here, let me leave it so that you guys could read. By the way, as you know, one thing, guys, please subscribe and share. And I want to get to 500 subscribers by the end of the year. I don't think I'm gonna make it, but if you guys could please share and subscribe, that's all I ask. And we're playing the like Nintendo Switch version, of course. The Switch. I think this game belongs on Switch. But this game also came out for the PS5 and also the Xbox One right now, so or like PS4. It came out to all the consoles. But what's so funny that this runs at 60 frame locked on everything. And John from Digital Foundry, he had the Switch version, and he was surprised how smooth. And then the developer told him that it was that they built a custom engine. Because these are all rendering, like they're rendering at 1080p at a very high quality, and it was so look how fast. So according to the head developer, they built their custom engine for this game. All right, keyboard controllers. See, I never had that controller though. Let me leave it there so you guys could read. Don't watch TV tonight. Of course, Pitfall and Kaboom. I think Pitfall, Kaboom were the best. I had Dragster. I never had Laser Blast, but I do remember I got Pitfall was like the #1 game. Kaboom with the paddle. Oh my god, Kaboom with the paddle was amazing. And like Dragster. Adventure, this was one of the most famous games as well. This game was a landmark. This game in 1980 was unreleased. Well, I remember this like yesterday, guys. Holy moly. Dodge 'em. Now we could play all these games right now. So as you're going through it. Wow. Play video.
So one of the first questions they asked me at Atari was, what do you want to work on? So I just said to him, I said, what's the dirtiest, most basic elemental system that you have? And he goes, oh, well, that's the VCS. And I said, well, that's where I want to start.
I mean, the constraints on the programmers were worse than I ever even imagined were possible.
2600 doesn't draw a screen. It doesn't draw anything. What it does is it has these little logic devices, these counters and shift registers that say, this is the start of the screen, this is the left side of the screen. The electron beam is moving to the right. I'm going to count. I know how fast the electron beam is moving. I'm going to count until the electron beam is somewhere on the screen, and then I'm going to change the color on the screen for a little itsy bit.
There's only one console where you have to think about the electron gun moving across the screen and what machine cycle you're on and when you can show stuff on the screen. That's such a fun and unique and annoying challenge that it really hooks you.
It's the most fun I've ever had making a game.
Also, these are the guys that did Donkey Kong for the
Fun
2600.
might not be the word. You know, it is the most challenging thing you could do. When we were doing it at Atari and at Activision, there were fewer than 100 people in the world who could do what we were doing. And that in itself was, you know, very positive, very uplifting. It's really a sense of accomplishment. If you can create something that, you know, 1 million people love on this horribly limited piece of hardware, you've created something. You know, have a sense of accomplishment.
And there are very few things more technical challenging than trying to get a game out of the VCS in the first place, because the VCS was a very technically limited machine. It sounds like a fabulous thing, and when it first came out, it was, because people had never seen anything like it.
I don't know if other people are as rewarded by it, but you're overcoming tremendous challenges. There's nothing that's easy to do on the 2600. And you're winning, right? I love winning.
And the other thing that's fun about playing them still is that they're all 60 frames a second. They have to hit that or the screen won't draw, you know? So they're all even much better than I think consoles that came out a few years afterwards. They all feel really fast when you play them. No Atari game has any sort of lag or anything because they had no option to have lag.
It's like when today, in hindsight, people criticize the first screen of Donkey Kong on the 2600. When I finished that screen, I thought it was a miracle. And you get people on Facebook today saying it's the biggest piece of junk I ever saw. And you just have to understand the perspective of where you were at the time.
Interesting.
Programmers that worked with that machine.
This is awesome, guys.
Were magicians.
Missile Command. Warlords. Asteroids. Now, we are going to gameplay, guys, but let's first... I'm just reading. I'm saying I just want to share this experience with you guys. I had this game, guys, Haunted. Haunted House. Considered to be one of the first survival horror games. Wow. That is awesome. Yar's Revenge. Absolutely. I own that one as well. Alright, let's continue. The high and lows. Okay, I had this one. The beta. There was the next generation. But this was the 5200. Now, guys, this one have games for on the Jaguar, so we're gonna start playing those as well. This is the 5200. Atari Age. Let's see this game real fast. Yeah, what is? Wow. Oh my God, look how nice this looks. Alright. Alright, so how we go back? Alright, it goes. Arcade. Let's see what this here is. Alright, let's see something. Highs and lows. Trouble in Paradise. Okay, this is the Intellivision. Sword Quest. I did play this game. The 5200. Centipede. Let's play the videos.
When you have a tragedy, and I do believe that the fall of the
Oh,
video game
Atari,
industry
yeah,
in
the
early
ET
80s
sucked. That I can
was a
tell
tragedy.
you.
It was a tragedy to many, many people. It changed a lot of lives.
I think it's pretty obvious when it comes to the video game crash that Atari didn't have control over the quality.
I mean, it needed some sort of way to keep just anybody from writing cartridges for it.
So many people saw this video game gold rush, and they just, started dumping crap. I remember going into KB toy stores and just seeing, really bad box art and just really just terrible looking games. And that's when I started losing interest, and the market became flooded just with garbage. And it ultimately led to, of course, things like E.T. being, actually buried in the desert like garbage.
And what happened was that E.T. became the face of the crash of the video game industry, and I, of course, was the butt behind the face. That's kind of the way it went.
Greed and hubris, that's what undid Atari. If they just had worked more from a place of like focusing on making great games and delivering great games to the customer instead of like, how can we maximize revenue, I feel like they'd still be a huge powerhouse today.
Frankly, Warner did not understand technology. He didn't understand the consumer marketplace, the video game, and so, and Ray Kassar, I think was afraid of releasing new product because it might not be as successful as VCS. So that's a sure way to fail.
I regret that we didn't have a new console by '84 that would have made it so that Atari continued to be a really viable business.
We never, ever got down to ever having any process by which we could come up with a better system.
Even to say, I think people do believe that, like, if they just released like the 5200 earlier, or if they released the 7800, or they had done different things, they would could never have they would have survived the crash a lot better, and they would be like a powerhouse today. Like as a kid, I didn't know much about business, but I just felt like something was wrong.
No one knew anything. Certainly, no one knew how to replace an existing console with a new one.
The real one-liner about why the game industry crashed and went away is that it was a first product life cycle and nobody knew what to do.
Wow, the crash. These are pictures. What is this? Sword Quest. Millipede. Crystal Castle. $7,800. The computer generation. The Atari gets personal computer. The Atari 800 at $499. Let's see, Star Raiders. No, let's. Let's see how Star Raiders look. I never seen this game. Okay. I'll put capture. Oh wait, what I did wrong. Sorry guys. Okay, let's quit the game. Yes.
Atari brings the computer age home.
Okay, Ma. What's the capital of Nebraska? Come on. I'm trying.
Atari home computers can teach you or reach you with important information anytime.
This is such a great piece of software, guys. For historians, for game collectors like I, amazing.
And if your jump shot is a little off, we can help you there, too.
Hey guys, how about a deal? The car tonight for Atari basketball.
No. In fact, there's no end to your possibilities with Atari home computers. They're easy to use and afford. But best of all, they just might be the wisest investment you'll ever make.
Watch this. Hey, Mom. What's the capital of Delaware?
Dover.
I told you she's smart.
Atari home computers. We've brought the computer age home.
Amazing. Atari was such a powerful when it was.
These families are learning about home computers. The family with the Atari home computer is learning
Spanish, German,
French,
Italian.
The other,
No foreign languages.
the Atari family is learning
3 programs teach us to program.
the other.
We've only one.
And while the Atari family learns to play Centipede Star Raiders and soon,
E.T.
the other learned
We made a mistake.
over 1,000 programs featuring the world's most popular games, but sorry, only with Atari.
That is crazy. What's this game? Miner. You could save the game, original mode, TV, borders on, quit. I like gives you a... Alright. Oh, Alan Thicke was there, the guy from Wow. Wow, Atari was Jesus crackers, bro. The Atari Lynx. This is a 70. Let me see how this one. What's this one here? Was it here? No. All right, so this is. 1990. Easy. All right, let's see this game here. Wait, how you got it? Oh, I got it. You got it. Okay. You could save the game, instruction manuals. Basketball. Let's see how the basketball look, guys. Oh, that looks pretty good here. This is the 7800, guys. Oh, this looks pretty good here. These graphics are good. Oh, wow. Okay. There's a 2600. This is like pole position. All right, let's see. Before we do that, Bird, High and Lows, the Dawn. This is the links. Oh, this is very charming, man. Oh, this is awesome, man. I'm definitely going to be playing a lot of these games, man. What's this one? I like the fact they got Lynx games in here, bro. This is crazy. I didn't know they had Lynx games. Okay. They got Lynx. Oh, okay, let's, oh my god, the Jaguar I knew about. Let's see the Jaguar games. 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, wow. Holy moly. Oh, this is cool, man. All right, so let's go back. All right, Jaguar. Okay, well, this was a launch game. Let's see. This is like 3D rendering at the time. Oh wow, this is like Star Fox. Okay. Original, let's do original. Okay. Oh my god, this game is charming right here. Okay. Let's do this one here.
Cool.
All right, we have to do original, I believe, for this one. Because this is the links. Yeah, there it goes. Jaguar. The Jaguar CD. Okay, they got Missile Command. Let's see this. What is this one here? Okay. Interesting. So we just going through these games, original. Oh, let's see a pinball game.
Mark at 5, 4, 3, 2. Current status, DEFCON 5.
Okay, what's the...
Current status, DEFCON 5.
Okay. Missile Command. Mystical Man in 3D. This is for the Jaguar. Interesting. Oh, wow. So it tells me that the Jaguar they had 3D polygons pretty good. Like I said, wow, this is an amazing. They have VR. Atari carts. Are you kidding me? I don't know this game existed. Oh, this is cool, man. Oh, this feels good. All right, what am I doing wrong? It's kind of hard to drive, though. The music is awesome, though. Okay, now I'm getting the hang of it. All right. Alright, very charming game. That one I'm definitely gonna play.
I remember sitting in the room with Jack, and Jack saying to all of us, let's go back to our roots. Let's do at least one more game system.
The controller is quirky. The industrial design of both the CD and the main unit are quirky. And the fact that, like, I guess somebody used the tooling on the main unit to make some kind of dental device. Like, it just has like this weird, quirky history that I think is also inviting.
One of the most interesting things about the architecture of Jaguar was this notion of having the Motorola 68000, which basically was responsible for booting and housekeeping, and then the Tom and Jerry chips.
I mean, I think at the time, 68000 was still a strong processor, but obviously it was in the Genesis and other things, so you weren't really getting that true 64-bit experience. But I think there was games out there that took advantage.
There's so many features in Jaguar that for a developer like Jeff Minter that did Tempest 2000 for Jaguar was like, wow, give me this.
I would say other than Cybermorph, it did not necessarily feel like that quantum leap that we were promised. It wasn't the flying cars, as they say, that we would have in the future, but you could see the potential, and that's what was really cool. You could see the parts of Cybermorph. You're like, oh, fully 3D world compared to something like maybe a Star Fox, which was on rails.
My perspective is the rule of thirds, where if you want to wind up with one really, really great game, you need to lay down 9 bets, because out of those 9, 1/3 probably will ship. And out of those 3 games, one is going to be a hit, the other will be and the other probably might be a dinger. Yeah. You know, there just wasn't enough momentum behind the Jaguar at that time to be able to do that when Sega and Nintendo were basically already on their 3.5 generation of consoles, you know, at those times.
I mean, if Aliens versus Predator came out as a launch title, maybe the history of the Atari Jaguar might have been slightly different. I think there are a lot more Jaguar fans today than there were when the system actually came out, and it's cool to see people enjoying the system some 20 odd years later. I believe everybody appreciated the innovative aspect, but on the other hand, the software was late, some was a little janky. But I think just saying, you know, time heals all wounds, to go onto the Jaguar forums now and look at the love for the system, honestly, like somebody that worked on it, I can't say that I completely understand it, but I totally appreciate it. I'm like, where were you guys like 20 or 30 years ago? You know, like you would have made my life like a heck of a lot better.
That was a good video, man.
I feel the best Atari games ever made have been made in the last 5 years. Like, I think the homebrew scene is incredible. People have figured out, and it's unfair to compare because the original people had like 5 weeks to make, you know, ET or whatever. And now people can take, it's like a hobby. You can take as long as you want, and you have access to like special chips and stuff. But still, they're still working, eventually making carts that you plug into your original Atari 2600 and they run, and they're super fun.
We saw it evolving, and there was a lot of nostalgia involved for that to happen. We loved this particular game system, and it's a great intellectual challenge.
In 2009, I was given a talk in Philadelphia just talking about the game business and my experience there. And after the talk, somebody came up to me and they said, hey, I just saw this cool book just came out called Racing the Beam. And it's about programming the 2600. And since you mentioned that you worked on the 800, I thought you might be interested in this book. And I'm like, it does sound really interesting.
Back in the old days when I had my Atari 800, I did learn 6502 assembly language, and so I've been messing around and making some of my own Atari games. I'm not ready to make Psychonauts on the Atari yet, but someday I'm going to make Psychonauts on the Atari 2600. Not announcing that yet, but don't tell anyone. But.
What is the point of going back to work on one of these old machines anyway? I mean, to me, the point is I want to know what it was like to be, you know, Todd Fryer, you know, and who was, you know, told he has 3 months to write Pac-Man on this terrible machine. And am I a man enough, you know, programmer to be able to do that?
You know, Pac-Man was actually technically quite solid.
It's fun to program for the 2600 because it's unique. It's, you know, 128 bytes, not K, but like bytes of memory. Like, it's so limited that it helps you edit, you know, and so you can't do everything. You can't imagine an experience and then implement it on the Atari. You have to go the other way around. Like, how many blocks can I move on the screen? Like, how can I turn that into a fun game?
It was very, very hard to squeeze a 128 level game with a, you know, title screen and a boss encounter and all that into 4K of ROM, because that's one of the limitations on the 2600 if you're going to live within the original constraints. And so I learned a ton about the 2600 along the way. I had a lot of fun. It was a lot of hard work, and I'm proud of the way it turned out.
I think of the homebrew as the hobbyist who wants to see if he can do it, and he makes a game and he makes a few for friends. That has evolved into some actual publishers making Atari 2600 games that are out there.
But there was a guy came on there the other day, and he's like, I just want to say this is the most supportive technical community I have ever been part of. So it is an amazing community and very welcoming to new people. So I would encourage people to do that.
There was no console war in the beginning. There was, you know, in the beginning there was only Atari, and the children looked upon it and saw that it was good and bought Atari and then asked for Atari games for every Christmas and birthday. The Easter eggs, finding the Easter eggs in Howard's game and Warren's game, you know, those were huge moments for me in my childhood, and my favorite early gaming experiences, especially finding that room in Adventure, that path that everybody, whoever found the Easter egg, follows those clues, and then discovers this, this secret room, this message hidden by the creator of the game, who I didn't even know who he was. And here's his name, and a whole secret room, that most kids who play this game never found. I found this secret place left by the creator, with a message for me. It was profound, and the first time that it ever happened in a video game. And so years later, when I was, I think had the initial idea for Ready Player One, was what if Willy Wonka had been a video game designer? And what if he held his golden ticket contest inside a video game? And that immediately made me think of the secret room at Adventure, and how that could be, how he finds his worthy successor, instead of a tour through the factory where he slowly kills off all the children. It could be an Easter egg hunt inside this, sprawling video game, and it could be hidden the way that those Easter eggs were hidden in the Atari games. And so there's no way I ever would have written Ready Player One if I hadn't grown up with an Atari and playing those games and finding those Easter eggs.
As I was reading through it, there was just so much familiarity in there. It felt like, as I was reading it, that the person who had written it, that I grew up with them. Because some of the names that were in there, some of the locations, some of the references were things that I thought only I knew. And nobody else in the world would understand or appreciate any of it. My literal opening, my email to him, before anything blew up on Ready Player One, my literal opening was just like, we have to know each other, because there's things in this book that only I know. Where did we meet before? That was the beginning of our full communication, which led to the stacks.
He read Ready Player One, and it spoke to him, and he sent me an email that said, hey, I make video games for a living, and your book really spoke to me, and if you ever want to make a video game, let me know. And I was right in the middle of trying to figure out if I could somehow do a promotional contest for the paperback that mirrored the contest in the novel. I wanted to do some sort of contest with 3 video game challenges and a grand prize at the end of it. And because Mike made that offer, I took him up on it. I'm like, oh, well, we could make an Atari game that you have to beat as the first challenge, and it could be the game that Wade makes in the novel.
Part of what made the book feel like it was written for me is because of the context around the 2600 rite of passage in there. Because for programmers in the game industry, 2600 is this really difficult platform to develop games for. To get anything to even appear on screen, to get anything to even work correctly, you have to just break your brain and rid it of everything that you understand about how games are developed today, and go back to this kind of primitive, primordial way of coding. And so for a lot of programmers, it is a rite of passage. If you can do that, you can do anything.
Wade makes his own game, and it's the Stacks. It's based on his life in the Stacks, and he describes it as a Pitfall ripoff that has you climbing around the stacked trailers, looking for food voucher power-ups, and trying to avoid pedophiles. And it's like a 1-paragraph description of this game. But I sent it to Mike, and he's like, "Oh, hell yeah!"
And so I had dabbled over the years with trying to understand 2600 programming. I'd made a couple small games, a couple hacks. So when this kind of came around, it was the perfect excuse to just finally deliver something that was all original and build something from the ground up. Once it started to work, it was completely satisfying. I felt like I had mastered what the greatest engineers in the world have mastered before me, and that I finally had an understanding of it. And to get there, of course, I had to enlist some help. And so that help came in the form of Kevin Wilson, our CTO at Digital Eclipse. I didn't mention this before, but we only had a few weeks to pull this off. So we were not only trying to learn 2600, but we're also given the time frame that basically ET had to try to get this game out the door. So we were reliving the worst of Atari's development history all over again, and I savored every second of it.
In our original contest version, all the items are hidden in the same place, which is great because we had people making maps. For the first time since they were kids, they were making maps of the stacks to remember, so if they died, they could go back and find where the items were. But then they added randomization, and now it might be one of the best Atari games ever made. Not to brag, but the stacks is pretty deep and pretty replayable for an Atari game. That's why I think Atari is always going to hold a special place in the hearts of people like me, just because it was, it was the first, and it was, you know, so needed. We were so bored in the late 70s. We needed video games at home so badly. The fact that other better consoles came later is because they saw the giant cultural and economic behemoth that Atari immediately became. Atari created the video game industry.
That's right.
The video game industry, and everybody that's come since then is, you know, kind of building on what Atari created.
That was well done.
When we started, video games were almost considered to be a bastardization of this wonderful technology. Why are you using it for fun when you could be creating missiles? I think we stood for innovation, and also we were the genesis story of the video game, which is kind of important. So I think you always have a hallowed position when you're the first.
Yeah.
When we chose the Fuji logo, I wanted to be an upward swoosh. And I think that if you look at the Atari logo, it's a collective, it's aspirational, just in the nature of the graphic. Also, Atari, I lifted it from the Game & Go. So it's a game word. But I hadn't realized that it also means bullseye.
Right.
It also means jackpot. So, you know, it's got this affirmative. In fact, I was talking to a Japanese guy one time, and he says, very good name, Atari. Perhaps a bit boastful for Japanese.
You're like, spot on for Americans.
Spot on for Americans.
Yeah.
One of the ethos of Atari was work hard, play hard. So we always had games, not just Atari games, but foosball and pool tables in the snack rooms and what have you. What that said was, we don't care when you come to work. If you come to work, get your job done, we're okay. We're all adults here. And we don't care how you come to work. You want to wear tennis shorts and blue jeans? Do you want to wear a tuxedo? We don't care. We had one guy that liked to wear ball gowns, but that's another story. I could tell some stories, though, about how I used to mess with the people who copied me.
Oh, please. All right. Let's hear that.
Okay. Atari started by building games that you could do in a garage shop. You know, so anybody that had a garage shop could copy us. And so of the 150,000 estimated Pong-type games that were created, Atari only shipped 30,000 of them. So we got less than a fifth of our market.
Right.
You know? And so as we innovated, people would start copying us. And I thought, I'm going to get them. So I had our semiconductor suppliers. We were a kind of a big deal in the semiconductor industry because they were selling a lot to the military and that sort of thing, but they'd sell 20 or 100 chips. We were buying thousands.
Right.
And so I had them mismark the chips. So that we had...
That you guys were using.
That we were using.
So if somebody tried to reverse engineer it.
So if they reversed engineer it and just bought off the shelf those same numbers, they'd populate the board and they wouldn't work.
Did you ever hear of anybody doing that?
Oh, yeah. We in fact,
brilliant.
We had one company that basically declared bankruptcy because they had a whole floor full of machines that they worked because they were hurrying to do it.
Oh, man.
And we had the temerity to have a champagne party on their front lawn. We celebrated their demise and invited them, of course.
Did they show up?
No.
What do you think Atari's role is, not just in video games, but in popular culture today?
Well, I think that Atari has an unassailable role as being the genesis story. I believe that it is understood by a lot that it succeeded because of creativity. 30 of those years, it was kind of in hands that were not kind to it. Don't say anything bad. So I think that pieces of the brand were damaged. Not irrevocably, but it could have been husbanded better. And so right now, I think that it would be good to take the innovation legacy and push it forward into the future.
Wow, guys, this is crazy to own something like this. All right, so let's see. So we have all the games now, right? The Computer Space was the first arcade game. Look at the original Pong, 1972.
So everybody's heard the Pong story. Probably everybody's heard the Pong story, but I've heard it many times, and from Al Alcorn himself, who designed Pong. So,
the story I've heard is that they installed one of the first Pong machines in a tavern and let people play it as a test.
Put it out into an arcade and see if it makes money. I mean, that's the market research.
My understanding was Ted built a cabinet, a tabletop, simple cabinet over the weekend. And a coin mech bolted to the side of the cabinet, tabletop type of big thing was sit on a barrel.
Placing a interactive video machine somewhere and having people play it was still a relatively new concept. Nobody knew if it was going to go.
Oh, what is the name of the bar in Palo Alto?
San Jose?
No, it was Andy Caps.
It was Santa Clara?
Sunnyvale.
So we'll put it in Andy Caps. You know, it's a coin-op game, be it fragile and humble. And so we did.
Well, my memory is that he gets a phone call, the game's busted, which of course is the usual thing you get on a support line. It doesn't work. What is it, and in what way does it not work? Well, it doesn't work.
The bar owner or manager at the time kind of yelled at them and like accused them of their game being shoddy because it had already broken down and it was no longer functioning or working.
And they get a call, you know, later on that night and like, hey, this thing broke, you know. Come and pick up this piece of shit game and get it out of here. You know, this thing broke. You know, I'm not going to waste my time fixing this crap.
But anyway, the machine, we got the word that it stopped working, and I figured it could be anything, and I'd go out there and take a look at it. And so I went to the machine, and the first thing you do is you want to try to play the game, because the machine was on in a tracked mode, so it was working, but you couldn't start a game. So you open up the coin box to basically flip the micro switch to give yourself a free game, because I'm not going to waste a quarter, you know.
And so they went down to see what's wrong with the machine to fix it, and what they found out was that it wasn't broken. It was just that so many people had played it, they'd filled the coin box with quarters, and it was jammed, and it couldn't take any more.
So many people had played it that it couldn't accept any more money.
The game is broken because it's stuffed so full of quarters.
Completely stuffed with quarters.
And it was a small, I remember it was kind of small, if I remember. It was a small space. It just filled up with the quarters, and it wouldn't take it.
When I opened up the coin mech, you know, all these quarters just gushed out. So, whoa, that's impressive.
It's the equivalent of like crashing a server. When you launch a new website and it's so popular. So they crashed the server on Pong.
And one of the other reasons it was also so popular is because you could play it with one hand while you're still holding a pint in your other hand. And that also was one of those things that, you know, eventually many, many years later led to the rise of the fun barcades that we have, you know, and we can enjoy now.
as Al will always say with a little, twinkle in his eye, he goes, "This is a problem I can fix."
Basically, the way it worked was you take the money, the deal you have, and you split the take with the owner of the bar. And so I did that, and I had this sack of quarters, and the next day I come into work and I said, I got the machine fixed, and here's the problem. The goddamn thing's making too much money. And no one, really?
But it was one of those great moments where something that supposedly was failing was actually such a huge success that no one could recognize. It was truly the ugly duckling version of technology.
Because remember, Nolan thought, he was like, this is just a placeholder until we get to design the really good game, because who's going to play this stupid shit-ass game?
They went on to produce all of these classic, memorable arcade titles for years that allowed the company to survive and be so much more than a one-hit wonder. So that's my understanding of the history of Pong.
It's a great story if it's true.
When a story is good, you know there's some doubt about it. Like, oh, that's too good to be really true. It's probably a boring version of it that's actually true.
You know, it sounds realistic to me. You know, I mean, I've kind of seen that happen in my own. And when you do get a really great game, the coins will just overflow, and you know, it's kind of a cool feeling.
Anyway, that's how that all happened. Yeah.
That was cool. All right, let's sort. All right, no. All right, so now, before we do that, let's make sure we didn't miss nothing. No more videos. All right, let's start concentrating in the games. Breakout. Fire truck. Lunar lantern. Asteroid. Let's see how Asteroid plays here. Oh, it looks really nice. All right. Vector screen make it glow really nice. Wow. Asteroid Deluxe, Warlords. Let's see how Centipede looks now. This is the arcade version though, not the 2600. This is the arcade version. Oh, it feels really good though. Oh wow, it feels really good, guys. All right. Tempest, the original. Let's see how the original Tempest looks here. Whoa. Asteroids. Centipede. Missile Command. Warlords. Oh, this is the arcade version here, bro. Oh, this looks really good. That's pretty cool. Let's see the baseball. Oh, I think I used to play this one a lot. The real tennis when I was young. Color. Yup. All right, let's play. All right, resume. Okay. I don't know how to start this. I don't know. I remember that game for sure. Tennis was always pretty cool. These are the 7800 games. Let's see, 7800. Look how charming this game looks. I never played these games. This is very charming. All right. Okay. Okay. Space duel. It's still hard without the paddle. But it is analog though. Like you could. Okay. You still need a paddle for these games. Super Breakout. That's the arcade version, I think. That one is the arcade version. Tempest for the Jaguar. This is the arcade version. Whoa, wait. What am I doing? So these are the arcade versions here. Centipede, Millipede, Black Widow. See, these are the arcade versions though, guys. That game is really fun. So these are the arcade versions. Alright, and these are some of the console versions. Alright, so alright, let's press pawn. Okay, Warlord. This is the arcade version of Warlord. Oh, this is pretty good. Wow, this is amazing. They got Food Fight, Major Havoc. Okay, these are the arcade. Okay, this is now all the arcade games from 2600. Got it. Now I know how we doing this. Wow. That game is cool, guys. Alright, so Arcade Originals, Birth of the Consoles. Dawn of the PCs. So do they have... Or they have games for the PC time. Let's see this one. Alright. Yeah, I just wanted to see this really quick. It's amazing. It has a game from the computers. Wow. Got it. All right. So now we know what this is. These are the arcade originals. You can play Pong, Space Race, or the Sprint. All right, what's this fire truck one? Oh, this is cool. All right, press start. They got Warlords, Centipede, Tempest. What is this one? A colorful shooter. Let's see this one. This is crazy. This is such an amazing piece of software, man. Black Widow's good food fight. That's cool. This is crazy, guys. Wow. All right, let's see the console games. Oh, guys, let's show you combat. This is the... So this game, combat, all of them had it. Like, when you bought the system, it came with it. Yup. But this is the two-player game. This is the famous adventure game. I used to love this game. It gets harder and harder while you... Wow, I used to play that game for hours. I remember my dad bought it for me. There was a story in Myrtle Avenue called Odd Jobs. He bought it for me for like $10. High and lows. I know it has look at this. Collect all the Powerballs. That's really cool. Wow. Alright guys, this is MCO Gamer. It was a long video. But this was, wow. What a great piece of software. It's just, the videos alone, man. It's amazing. Wow. Alright guys, this is MCO Gamer. Peace. I hope you enjoyed this. That was wonderful. What a wonderful piece of hardware.